he is the main contact there. But like, it was like we're working on this huge water drainage project, and then there's like a sinkhole in the parking lot. Well, what's that? And then there's a hole opened up in the middle of the ball field. She had to close the soccer field, and it's so.
And that was always
it's
a nice.
It's not stormwater. It's a sewer. So it's like, okay, so I got the plumber up there, snake, TV in it, Yeah. Yeah, they are. Now, are they playing? Is it out of the field of play? No.
No, because I forget who it was.
Got Andrew Jack, our boss. No. Scott Shepard.
Well, these guys,
Well, you sent that picture you sent me with the ball, soccer ball in it. Might not have been like, down in the crevice. I thought.
But so we told them to stay. Just
Be on the safe side, yeah.
we don't know.
But I hope. I mean,
If we can get the camera down, that's I think.
still, it's like it's not going to be good. It's not going to be like, oh, it's perfect except for that hole. It's got to be.
Just one step at a time. I can't take over too much.
Hi, Rick. How are
Hey,
you?
how's it going?
All right.
You getting ready for budget season? I heard you got a deadline already, right?
Dream, yeah.
Mom was saying something about end of the month. They have to have their draft budget season.
Yeah.
All right. I told him don't worry about it. You wouldn't care if he was a month or so
Get
late.
me a laptop.
And he never cared, so why would you? Yeah, right. I figured you'd get a lot out of that. How come? Why? What's wrong beside you? All right. So did everybody move down? I mean, but this used to not be a space, though. Did they shift everybody down? Oh, he's never come, so switch it out, huh? Yeah, I see. Did you like the meeting with Ryan Berner? Some good stuff coming out of that? Good. Nice. GIS is so cool, man. There's so much to do with that stuff. Tracer. It's you get pigeonholed, man. I'm telling you. There's been softwares like that folks have bought. Upper St. Clair did it. Think of it. There's a popular software. The guy who developed it got tired of it, wanted something else, so he sold it to Tetra Tech. Tetra Tech finally just whittled away and they had some good support, and now it's just crap. So Esri's not going away. Microsoft's not going away. You know what I mean? So if you go down the road of purchasing a specific software, You get your head spun, man. Yeah, it's been your head. That stuff is fun. Yes, sir.
We need to get you a laptop.
Yes.
So that you can look up things.
So is this the loan program for the municipality or is it for private employees?
Take the laptop out of the place. Yeah, I would be buying it. Two from here, one so that it can go share one from here, and then one specifically for the training room, so that I don't have to continue to break down. Farm. The six. Yeah, there's a few.
Yes.
How are you?
Okay. Just on vacation. I was thinking of jelly again. That's good. No. We have an inside joke.
With a nice.
This is one place that, like, a lot of times, I think, well, it's time to go home. This one, you can just stay.
This all started with my mother-in-law. This whole thing. And
Yeah. I thought
what she did with her children.
but now we're talking about doing
Was she bought this Trappist seedless red raspberry. So with the family, then my wife and her sister got to it, and their children get to it. So they have to have this. So I have to buy it. What's wrong with this?
That's pretty neat.
That's good. It was just very relaxing.
Thank you so much.
3.5 and fishing out 8 people. 11, 12 hours.
So now, in Pittsburgh, there's nobody that has it. And we find out that these are trappers, made by the Trappist monks. Over in Ohio, there is a place that will make the same jelly. Okay? And the Trappist monks, they got on it financially. So with that, I have to call them, order it, and they'll ship it into the house, charge report. Okay, so that means that there's 3 cases.
Because he's a film.
At least. And I have no clue right now how much money that's going to be.
Yeah, this is British.
Huh?
Filming.
This used to be,
I know, well, where I eat in Shop and Save in Wilkins, he used to have it there. Now, because of the building and the liquor license, he eliminated that particular jelly. Okay. So we'll go to the ones in Ohio, which I have to get the phone number off my wife and talk to them and have it shipped. Or somehow again, I think I'm paying for this.
The shipping house.
Oh yeah. Oh, I won't even tell you about my car, my wife's car.
Well, it's probably
It's been a bad day. It's
probably 6 altogether. After.
With my wife's car, I lost her keys to the car.
The guy that would be here
Okay. And I don't know where I lost her. I have
Oh, I
no
don't know.
clue.
This is the guy
It's
from the
driving
flood.
me crazy. No, I checked everywhere. I cannot figure out. So, again, I'll make a long story short. I found that, and I went to a buddy of mine who works part-time or in the parts department at the Ford dealership in Wilkinsburg, or Monroeville. Well, he's on vacation all this week. Okay, so I talked to one of the guys there, and they said, well, you have to go to the General Motors place to get it repaired because your wife's car's General Motors. Okay. Well, anyhow, there is a place on West Liberty Avenue, okay, a Chevy dealer. So I talked to them today. And then they needed information to make the key and the fob, or whatever that thing's called. So now, on Thursday morning, or Thursday, 1 o'clock, he says, we'll take you then, and we'll have a new key for you. Guess how much? $98. Which I was expecting more money. More. Yeah,
Sir,
I
what'd you
thought
do with that
maybe
highlighter?
when the guy actually
What'd you do with that highlighter? Highlighter. Did you take the highlighter?
that I have to go from here to West Liberty Avenue with my wife's vehicle. And she can drive mine. And mine is a 6-cylinder. And she does. I think the last time she drove that was a year ago. Hers is a 4-cylinder. So she uses that all the time. So now, on Thursday, just to make sure that the new key's going to work, I have to take her car all the way to West Liberty Avenue and bring it back, and then she's got this is worse than the casino. We don't even go to the casino.
Right.
Yeah. I think so.
Just him there?
A new pen, yeah?
Oh, okay.
Sir, it's all in the diaphragmatic line.
We're expecting
That's
things
it.
are probably
Very
much. We can probably answer any questions.
Really bad.
This program pretty soon. You know, all I need is allow you to get up at the time it's introduced. Just that's what he said on that. I'll wait for you. Okay. Questions?
Then they put that. But the thing is, to get into the program, sometimes the key is correct, and she knows, reset it or something on top.
Good evening, everyone. So nice to see a full house at our council meetings. That's what we all hope for because we represent you, the people, and we feel that you all should have the information and knowledge of what your mayor and council are doing. There are going to be several changes to the agenda tonight. We're not really, we're just rearranging for some things. First of all, we are going to have, number one will be the approval of the agenda. Then number two is the Pledge of Allegiance. Number three will be roll call. Number four, swearing in of the Penn Hills police officers. Number five, recognition of Penn Hills police officers. 6, recognition of firefighters. 7, the mayor's FYI for your information. And 8, a small business administration presentation pertaining to the flooding situation that Penn Hills has had to endure through July. There will be an added under agreements. Number 3 is added, and that is to approve a contract addendum with Keystone Collection Group to allow for installment payments on real estate taxes. So I hope that's not too confusing, but the agenda will stand as I presented it. If we could please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You want to have it now?
Yeah, you can. Or do you want to do the small business?
I thought maybe what do you think?
What are we doing?
Showing that Summerfest. You want to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay. As you know, we had the annual Summerfest festival, and our Parks and Recreation Director did a fabulous job, as he always does. Is John in the audience? Well, John?
No.
All right, if the manager just could relay to him, it was a wonderful job that he did, and each year it grows, and that is so good for Penn Hills because of the fact that the size of our municipality, we should have functions that people even other than our own residents attend. So we do have a short video that we wanted to show to let everyone see some of the highlights.
Okay, thank you
You're
very
up.
much, Kuhn and Council. I'm Vince Lagerteri with PVN Productions. We started a couple of months ago. As a lot of you have seen us here and our crew doing your broadcast of your council meetings. So we're excited to announce that we kind of experimented with it last month, as many of you know. Tonight we are actually starting it officially, live streaming the event. So I want to look at the camera here and say we want to welcome everybody watching at home and on their mobile devices tonight anywhere in the world. So, and that is on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and then type in Municipality of Penn Hills, you'll see all of the videos that we've done, and you can actually see this live stream on the air right now. So, and I want to thank Manager Scott and John Petrucci, who really had the vision to, as well as the rest of the council here, to bring us in. And Mayor, thank you very much. So. Okay.
Thank you.
So in addition to covering the council meetings, we have been asked by some of the different departments and Manager Scott to start to cover some of the events that Penn Hills, you guys are doing some great events here, and really accentuate and show some of the fun and positive things going on here in Penn Hills, and to get them up on the internet, get them on YouTube, and that way when people do Google searches, it's really going to be really good to see some of these positive videos mixing in with all the other news and events and stuff that's happening in the municipality. So we did this video. We covered, along with Jesse and my production team, went out and covered your Summerfest, and we thought we would just do like a 5-minute video. So hopefully it plays okay. Hope you enjoy it. Here it is.
Friendship Park. It's our 5th annual Summerfest. It's a Penn Hills Community Festival. The event features live music, food trucks, we have inflatables for the kids, a free kids area, non-profit associations doing games and carnival activities, a petting zoo, balloon animals, face painting, a lot of activities for the family. Started 5 years ago. 2015 would be our first one. The first year we had 1,500 people here. Last year we had 4,000, so it's growing every year.
We do this to thank the community and unify everybody. Just come help have a celebration and just see everything that Penn Hills has to offer.
Well, it's the Education Foundation of Penn Hills, and you pick a duck, it has a number on it, and then the kids win a prize.
Okay, can we pick a duck out?
Sure.
Okay.
What number? All right, you got number 2.
Okay.
It's free.
Very nice. What do you think? Is that good?
Yeah.
Our committee consists of myself, Melissa Waldron, Chris Pulaski, who are both on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and then Greg Dreyer, who is the pastor for Rolling Hills Community Church.
For today's heat, this is a great turnout. We thank everybody for coming, and they will come staggered. Some people come a little bit later for the fireworks. People with smaller children come earlier in the day for the bouncy houses and the petting zoo, and everybody comes for the food trucks and the bands.
How you doing?
I'm from Lowville, Ohio, and we have a ranch there with 5.5 acres and about 50 animals.
Kids look like they're having a good time.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun today.
Oh man, it's a fantastic day here at Penn Hills Friendship Park. 5th anniversary of Summerfest. You got petting zoos over there. You have cookie decorating, sections. I mean, really, there's a lot of fun stuff going on.
The mission is to replenish the tree canopy in Penn Hills. Penn Hills has lost a huge amount of tree canopy over the last 5 years. And we're trying to replenish it, and through that we help the environment, and we also help the economics of Penn Hills, because neighborhoods with lots of trees are neighborhoods that sell for the most money.
So this is Big Deal Peppers. It's a business that my husband and I started about 6-7 years ago now. We do organic pepper blends. We grow them right here in Penn Hills, right in our backyard. So this is Face Melter. It's made of the 3 hottest peppers in the world: Carolina Reaper, Ghost, and Naga peppers. This is our 10, so this is the hottest thing that we have here at the booth today.
All homemade, everything from peanuts, raisin, peanut butter, marshmallow, caramels, pretzels, and Oreos.
We have a lot of bees. We have 65 hives right now. Make a lot of honey. Right now, they're starting to make goldenrod honey.
We have high quality, raw and unfiltered honey. It's all local, just here from Penn Hills. We separate it by season, so we have a spring, early summer, late summer, and fall honey.
I think it's a great day. It's a good day for Penn Hills. It's an opportunity for a lot of people to come out, enjoy a nice day.
We get about 4,000 people here, maybe. It's a great time. I mean, you can see just walking around, so many things to do. The bounce houses we have over at the far side, the kids are having a blast.
You can see me, you can see who I've become. If you can feel me, you know why I run. That's what I need you to do. Take me to a place called love. Take me to a life where I belong. Wrap me up in your arms. Keep me safe and warm. Take me to a place called love. Take me to a life.
It's good. It's positive for Penn Hills. It's good to bring positive news, a positive event, positive family activities in this community where everybody can participate, come, feel safe, and have a good time.
Very nicely done. It was a great event, and just like Light Up Night, it grows every year. And as John stated on the tape, it is such a positive thing for our community. And everyone had a good time, no problems existed. With that, let me see here. Roll call.
Mr. Brodnicki?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sapp? Mr. Underwood?
Here.
Mr. Petrucci?
Here.
Mayor Kuhn?
Here. Sorry, I'm reading.
That's okay.
Okay, next, it is our pleasure to swear in 3 of our new police officers. So if I could please have James Johi. I hope I don't mispronounce your name. If he could come up to the front. Benjamin Druskin and Ryan Tirick. First name is James, right, honey? If Mayor and Council would, if Council would like to come down with the Mayor while I swear in these young men, you are more than happy to. Where's our chief? Come on, Howard. We have had so many of our police officers retire, and as we lose one, we bring one in. And each time that I swear an officer in, which is a great privilege for me, I express they keep looking younger and younger and younger. Okay. How I will do this, can I do all three at once? Okay, I'll do all three of you at once. And when I say I, you just say your name. And then you repeat the oath, and I will go very slowly so that you don't have a difficult time. Okay, Municipality of Penn Hills, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. Oath of office. I'm sorry, raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the Home Rule Charter and ordinances of the Municipality of Penn Hills. I also swear that I will uphold, obey, and enforce the law without consideration to a person's race, color, sex, religious creed, sexual orientation, age, national origin, ancestry, handicap, or disability. I will perform the duties of a police officer of the Municipality of Penn Hills, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, with honesty, integrity, and fidelity. So help me God. People of Penn Hills are very open, very kind, and very family-oriented, and they respect our police officers because of the fact they've never given us reason not to. That being said, as a mother and a grandmother, which I could be to all three of you, no, Howard, that doesn't include you. We all want you to perform your duties to the best of your ability. But we also don't want any of you taking any unnecessary chances because of the fact your families want you to come home every night just like everyone else. And in the environment that we're in at this point in time, you have to be extremely careful. So don't be careless, do a good job, and always be aware of your surroundings. Thank you. Would council like to say anything? Okay, be safe is what he said. Now, I don't know if you have family members or friends who would like to take photos, but they're more than welcome to come up and take them. And I will get rid of the mic and give you your...
Yes.
I'm all right. Just I'm having trouble walking. Go ahead, sit down. Just watch me. Thank you all again. Mayor and council, our manager, and our chief are privileged to award a certificate of recognition to Officer Preston Peterson and Sergeant David Wilkinson. Could both of you come up front? What, honey? Yeah, I'm reading. Okay, I'm reading, and then
Let me give this first.
and then you can give the report. Or do you want to give the? All right. He thinks because of the fact we grew up together that he can tell the mayor what to do and when to do it.
We agree.
At least we don't disagree.
Exactly.
Chief Howard Burton will give a presentation on the exact things that these two officers had done for one of our residents and how important they were in not only saving her life, but also saving her leg. So he will describe exactly the conditions.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, actually, the recognition is pretty much states what happened, but I'd like to give you a little background. This actually occurred on July 9th or July 17th, about 7:50 at night. What happened is the officers got a call, and I'm reading directly from Officer Peterson's report. Now, we can't mention names or anything of that nature because of the HIPAA rules and regulations. However, I'll take parts out of it to get an idea what happened. It was reported that a person had been hit by a train. This is Officer Peterson's report. As I arrived on scene, Sergeant Wilkinson was on scene and making his way down the hillside toward the individual struck by the train. I went down the hillside and both Sergeant Wilkinson and I arrived at the female together. The female, who was lying on the ground near the shoulder of the railroad tracks, was crying out in pain. I began emergency response procedures. We observed that the victim's right leg was severely disfigured and bleeding. Sergeant Wilkinson took out his tourniquet, handed it to me, and he held direct pressure on the wound until I applied the tourniquet to the right leg. I then took out responsibility to keep pressure on the wound. About 7:57 hours, Penn Hills EMS and fire rescue arrived on scene and took over the medical treatment responsibilities, stabilized the patient, and transferred her to the local hospital. follow-up, the next day, Inspector Henry, the director of our EMS division, contacted the hospital for a follow-up on this young lady, as we had no idea what the status was. In response, not reciting all the medical terms, I couldn't pronounce them anyway, but it said, I've been asked by the trauma staff to thank you and your team, both EMS and PD, for the care provided prior to arrival. That care was a dominant factor in this patient's survival. In addition, it states, not only the recognition here will state, the officer not only saved her life, but we actually saved the leg. She's going through a lot of rehab naturally, and a lot of plastic surgery to put the leg back together. But they did save the leg also. And it's due to the quick actions of these two officers, EMS and fire. So that's why we're here tonight to give recognition.
Mayor and council, manager, and our chief are privileged to award a certificate of recognition to Officer Preston Peterson and Sergeant David Wilkinson. Whereas Officer Preston Peterson and Sergeant David Wilkinson have rendered outstanding service as a police officer to the Penn Hills community and deserves special recognition. Whereas their dedication and great deal of pride and hard work have earned for both Officer Preston Peterson and Sergeant David Wilkinson the respect of their fellow workers. Now therefore, on behalf of Mayor and Council and all of our citizens, I am pleased to give this certificate of recognition to both Sergeant David Wilkinson and Officer Preston Peterson, with our sincere thanks for their dedication, service, and outstanding efforts in Penn Hills, helping to keep our citizens and community safe. Both Officer Preston Peterson and Sergeant David Wilkinson responded to an injured woman on the train tracks in North Preston. They were instrumental in not only saving her life, but saving her leg as well. This took place July of 19, sorry. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the municipality of Penn Hills on this 19th day of August 18, 2019. It's my privilege to sign your certificate. Thank you so much. We all thank you again. I mean, it's over and above what your job descriptions are. So thank you for making Penn Hills safe and looking so proud.
I would like to mention, very quickly, that we had an awful lot of help from our firemen out there and from EMS. Mr. Henry, who does a tremendous job with our people. So it wasn't just us alone. We had a whole group of people that all came together for one cause, and that was to save that young lady's life. And we were
This is a great honor for myself. My firemen are well aware of what they mean to me. It's my privilege and honor to recognize Penn Hills voluntary fire companies and our volunteer firefighters. Mayor and council take great pride in acknowledging everything our volunteer firefighters do and have done throughout the years. As their mayor, I never miss an opportunity to remind each and every resident of their service, dedication, and the risk each of them take in order to keep our residents and community safe from harm. This was never more evident than our past fire that was so devastating, caused such destruction, and caused injury to those who, as volunteers, came out answering the call, placing their personal safety aside, performing their job as they were trained to do. Unfortunately, this call caused injury to 4 of our volunteer firefighters, and we were fortunate there weren't more. As mayor of Penn Hills, I'm requesting management to include in the 2020 budget some form of additional funding for our volunteer fire companies. If the budget is unable to find the needed revenue, then my question is, how will we find the revenue if we would have to pay for firefighters and not have our volunteers? Mayor and council's gratitude and appreciation is also extended to our EMS director, Diane Fitzhenry. Are you here, Diane? No? I've known Diane since she was 18. She has probably participated in every possible position in this municipality. And as our officer was so kind, she does have heart for this town and the residents in it. We also want to recognize our fire marshal, Chuck Miller. Come on, Chuck, stand up. Don't be bashful. Our manager, Scott. Stand up, Scott. Our chief of police. Did he leave?
No, he's...
He and all police officers who assisted in this tragedy. Every opportunity that I have, I express to the public how fortunate we are to have the volunteer fire companies and the volunteer firemen that we have. These volunteers who give so much, ask for so little. Their interests do not present self-promoting. What they do have is the utmost honor and integrity. If only we all could follow their leads. I also want to acknowledge and thank our neighboring communities and their volunteer fire companies. I believe it was Oakmont, am I correct, and Verona, who came to this assistance and helped our volunteer firemen. So, we thank you. You always make Penn Hills proud. I do have recognitions. My solicitor saying Monroeville and the city of Pittsburgh also participated, is that correct? Many states. Okay, I don't want to forget anyone because that's what neighbors do. They come out, they assist, and they help when they're needed. If the chiefs of each of our 6 volunteer fire companies could come up. I know you don't like this part of it. I see John sitting there saying, what is the mayor doing? But we need to recognize you. All right, John, you're up. This is a good fireman, good chief, and a good friend, John Capone.
Thank you.
Bill Jeffcoat, thank you guys very much.
We want to thank you, but I do want the audience and those who will watch this on the video to put a face to the name of those who protect us voluntarily. There's no monetary value given to them. Come on out.
Al Wickline, Station 224. Thank you very much.
And that's Point Breeze.
Yes, ma'am.
Joe McMeekin, Station 225, Thad Stevens.
Thad Stevenson.
Russ Regard, I'm Assistant Chief. I'm standing in for Dave Sanford, who is the Chief for Station 222, Rosedale.
Rosedale.
Thank you.
All right, sweetheart. Look how young you are.
Kendall Griffith, President at 221, filling in for Devin.
This is what we need. Not that I am dismissing. Not that I am in any way dismissing the years of knowledge that our firemen have. But unfortunately, the volunteers for firemen are down, not just in Penn Hills or Allegheny County, but throughout our country. So it's always wonderful to see a young man giving his time and attention to his community. All right, gentlemen. John, when I come into North Bessemer, I want to see this hanging. Each of them, John, you want to hand them out for me? Oh, I Each of them have the exact same wording. Municipality of Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, County of Allegheny, proclamation. Whereas the Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Service protects the residents of Penn Hills and keeps our residents and property safe and deserves our special thanks and gratitude. Whereas their dedication, pride, and hard work has earned the Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Service the respect their neighbors, co-workers, and peers. Whereas the Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Service performed acts of great heroism and bravery on the evening of July 29th, 2019, and deserves the thanks and recognition of the entire community. Now therefore I, Sarah Kuhn, as Mayor of Penn Hills Municipality, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 20th, 2019 as Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Service Day in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. Please join me and the Council of Penn Hills in recognizing these remarkable individuals for their bravery and service. Support them today and every day as a community by donating, getting involved, and helping in any way we can. Dated and signed Monday, August 19th, 2019. Now before I let them sit down, I say this at the parades, I say this no matter where I am at. These volunteer firemen send out cards or letters requesting donations. They might start at 30, go up to 100. It is not just a comment that I make when I say, unfortunately, they don't get 40% back. So we all just take it for granted that when something happens, you'll see the fire truck coming. If you can't afford $30, $40, $50 a year to support your fire companies and firefighters, I have no idea how you think you would ever be able to afford a paid fire company. We all need to wake up and realize what we have, what they do, and what we can do to help. It's very sad that our firemen have to stand out on the street by a red light with a boot, asking everyone who passes by to donate. They do enough. They should have to do that to protect this community. Please give them a hand. They are wonderful. John, you're the best.
Okay.
This was a great meeting so far. Everything that was presented and everything that was done was showing a positive view of our community and of our residents. So this was a good meeting to this point. Okay, next we have a presentation by a small business administration in regards to the flooding that our community has witnessed throughout July and August. John, do you want to introduce them?
Yeah, I'll just, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to read a brief statement from the press release. SBA declares disaster for July 21st, 22nd storms offering low interest rate loans. Excuse me. Pittsburgh, the U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, has declared a disaster in Allegheny County for storm and flash flood damage sustained July 21st, 22nd, 2019. This designation will financial relief available to residents and business owners in the form of low interest disaster loans. This is great news for the residents and businesses that were severely impacted by the storms and flash floods in July. And we are grateful to Governor Wolf and the PA Emergency Management Agency for their work to make SBA designation happen. We have one of their representatives here today that I reached out to. They're over at the Renton Fire Hall, and I went up there and spoke to some of the people up there, and they gave me Tamina. I will put on a presentation and tell you about the SBA. Yes, sir. Please come up.
Honorable Mayor, Councilmen, officials, thank you for having me. I am Tamim Chaudhry from the U.S. Small Business Administration, and as Councilman Petrucci mentioned, we are here because of the flash floods that took place from July 21st through 22nd. We are the only disaster assistance federal agency that's here, so I think it's important that everyone who has been affected at least take a look at our programs. We offer the low interest, long-term loans for homeowners, renters, businesses, and nonprofits that have been affected by the flooding. Oftentimes people hear the word loan and they get scared off, but this is something to consider because these loans may go up to 30 years. Starting off with homeowners and renters, both groups may receive an interest rate that's as low as 1.9%. For homeowners, if you have any sorts of damages, your cap is at $200,000. For homeowners and renters, you may receive up to $40,000 for personal property damages. When I say personal property, I'm also including vehicles. And I'm sure a lot of us know, and I was reading the news also about just vehicles being swept away. That's where this comes in. These loans are the federal government's primary method of assisting for disaster relief. Moving on to businesses and nonprofit managers, I've also visited several businesses in the area. These groups may receive up to $2 million for any sort of damages. For physical damages to the business, that's going to include the real estate, inventory, equipment, that sort of thing. The interest rate is could be as low as 4%. And for nonprofits, it could be as low as 2.75%. Now, when I say nonprofits, I'm including churches in this as well. So if anyone knows of any business owners, churches, I'm sure I have not been able to hit everyone in Allegheny County or in the municipality of Penn Hills, please just pass on the word. We started operations here on August 9th, and tomorrow's our last day of operations. We're at, as the councilwoman mentioned, we're at Renton Volunteer Fire Department, 1996 Old Mine Road. So tomorrow's our last day. We open at 9, close at 4. But this doesn't mean that the program ends. Anyone wanting assistance can go to disasterloan.sba.gov to look at the application online if you need help, because oftentimes we assume that everyone's computer literate, but that's not the case. Just call our 1-800-659-2955 number. Someone can mail in an application to you. If you need help with just the online application, we do have help available over the phone. So I would ask anyone affected to just consider it. Basically, SBA loans, they don't have any application fees or any closing costs. The interest rate, it's a simple interest rate, and applicants, if approved, get up to a 4 months deferral for repayment. So it's an option to consider. If your insurance settlement is more than enough, you can always decline the loan if it's not satisfactory to you. If the insurance settlement is almost enough, you can request a lesser amount than what's been offered. But what we don't want to see is someone just not even considering it and wondering if this loan could have made them whole again, be it your business, your nonprofit, or your home. Currently, the deadline stands on October 7th. And I'd like to mention we also have economic injury loans, and that deadline is May 7th. I was speaking to this one manufacturer, and he just had to shut down his operations in this county because just due to the flooding, he just couldn't operate. So he has a payroll to make. That's where those loans come in, that if you have an economic injury loan that your business was just suffering because of the floods, we also offer that. That's basically my overview, but I'd be happy to answer any questions any of you may have.
First of all, I want to thank you for coming at such short notice for the presentation, and I want to thank Councilman Petrucci for finding you. I don't really have any questions, but I didn't know if you had perhaps cards that you could put out so that anyone in the audience who thinks they could use your services.
I can
could.
most definitely do that,
Right,
Madam Mayor.
because of the fact that a short presentation is fine, and believe me, we didn't want you going on and on, but they might have some questions that they could present to you one-on-one if that would be acceptable.
Certainly. I'll give a fact sheet to all of you in case I missed anything that explains the whole program, and I'll leave a set of flyers that basically have the numbers and everything, the customer service that basically, even if we're not here, residents here can receive.
Okay. Does anyone on council have any comment? No? John?
Would you mind hanging out in the hallway, and maybe
That's fine, sir.
some people could ask you some questions if they have them from the audience?
I can do that. That's fine.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Mayor, can I ask a question, Mayor? I don't know if this is on. Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, sir.
When we first read the article, I was surprised that you offered this type of loan. And I was just wondering how this came about. Is this something that you do?
Chris?
Yes.
It's not.
You need to speak into the mic.
It's not, okay.
Yes, it is. It's just that you're
When I
sideways.
first read about this and we first saw this offer from Small Business Administration, I was just surprised that I'd never heard of this type of loan before. And I was just wondering how this came about. Is this a one-time thing for this kind of disaster, or is this something that you do all the time?
This is something we do all the time, and that's part of my job, that basically the Office of Disaster Assistance, it's very much not known. People see SBA and they just think business. But I'll tell you this, 80 to 90% of our applicants are homeowners and renters who are hurting right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Oh, thank you again. Next, we have Bill Jeffcoat, and he's going to make a comments on increased calls, low volunteers, and future needs for the Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Department. Bill, you couldn't have picked a better night.
Right.
You need to give your name and address.
My name
Bill,
is
just for
Bill
the record.
Jeffcoat. I live at 11420 Clematis Boulevard. I'm also the fire chief of Penn Hills number 7. On behalf of the 6 fire companies present tonight, we'd like to say thank you for the acknowledgement. I had the chance to appear before you guys this evening to echo just a few facts of how amazing the Penn Hills Fire Department really is. The Penn Hills Fire Department is comprised of 6 volunteer fire companies that cover 19.36 square miles. Don't need to tell you guys that it's the second largest municipality, second to the city of Pittsburgh. 2017, your Penn Hills volunteer fire departments answered 2,715 calls for service. In 2018, we answered 3,187 calls for service. Fast forward to 2019, July 11th of 2019, The Penn Hills area was hit with 4 inches of rain in less than a few hours, resulting in the 6 volunteer fire companies answering 56 flood-related calls for service in less than 16 hours. Some of those individuals selfishly leaving work, their loved ones, to help their neighbor, as well as other members of their community. July 21st to July 22nd, 2019, again, the municipality of Penn Hills found itself in the crosshairs of Mother Nature. In a 24-hour time period, the Penn Hills area was forced to endure over 8 inches of rainfall. Once again, the Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Companies answered over 60 storm-related calls and rescued around 10 individuals stranded on the top of their motor vehicles from rising floodwaters. July 28th, 2019, all 6 of your volunteer fire companies, with the assistance of 18 neighboring volunteer fire companies, fought a natural gas-fed commercial structure fire on Frankstown Road for about 12 hours. 7 of those firefighters were injured. Of those 7, 4 were injured when a room that was filled with natural gas suddenly ignited, and the result was a violent explosion, trapping 2 firefighters under debris from the building and injuring 2 others. Affected firefighters were transported to local trauma and burn centers. Some of those firefighters will carry their physical and emotional scars the rest of their lives. The entire Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Company have been working extremely hard to better themselves. Despite an alarmingly high decline in donations and lack of volunteerism, in 2016 it was announced that the municipality was looking for a new government center. Representatives from the volunteer fire departments approached the municipality for feasibility of a fire academy at that new site. Over time, with assistance from mayor and council, the volunteer fire departments were allotted space and funding for 6 non-burnable training containers that are currently located right over the hill. Within the next 30 days, the first phase of modifications will be completed at the fire academy. Entryways will be cut open from container to container, allowing stair access from the first floor all the way to the rooftop, as well as additional windows throughout the building. This project was partially funded by donations and fundraising. The remaining balance of this project was funded by each of the 6 volunteer fire companies. Our hard work is paying off. The Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Company currently holds an ISO level 3, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. It's estimated there are around 2,400 volunteer fire companies in Pennsylvania. We share an ISO level 3 with about 115 others. With the addition of the fire academy and constant ongoing training, the volunteer fire departments are well on our way to an ISO level 2 at our next evaluation. Now, as the end of 2019 rapidly approaches, the fire chiefs and company officers seated behind me are constantly preparing for the future and what lies ahead. The 6 volunteer fire companies currently receive $52,500 per year. The Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Department is respectfully asking for a 5% increase into the fire suppression budget, bringing the total yearly disbursement per station to $55,125. Now, from 2016 to 2019, the fire suppression budget also included a yearly payment for self-contained breathing apparatus, the devices we wear into smoky structures that allow us to breathe. 2019 marked the final payment on that loan. The Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Departments are respectfully requesting that that line item of $107,000 be continued into the 2020 budget and beyond. Over the past 3 years, calls for service have increased by 23% each year, township-wide. More calls for service equal increased wear and tear on apparatus and equipment, resulting in decreased service life. NFPA 1851 recommends that our personal protective equipment, the gear that we wear, be replaced every 10 years. With our increased call volume, We are unfortunately discovering that firefighters' PPE is needing to be replaced every 5 to 7 years. If the municipality of Penn Hills continues that line item in the 2020 budget and beyond, the Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Departments would like to allocate those funds specifically for firefighters' PPE. Those funds would allow for 24 complete sets, jacket, pants, boots, gloves, 24 complete sets of personal protective equipment going to 4 complete sets for each station. The Penn Hills Volunteer Fire Departments would also like to discuss with Mayor and Council about a future apparatus replacement plan. Many communities around the Penn Hills area already participate in such plans. The municipality of Monroeville, full replacement. The borough of Verona, full replacement. The borough of Oakmont, full replacement. The township of Wilkins, full replacement. The municipality of Murraysville, full replacement. Plum Borough, partial funding to the tune of $400,000 to $500,000. So in closing, NFPA 1911 recommends that our frontline apparatus be replaced every 25 years. With the cost of fire apparatus and equipment increasing every year, we are dangerously close to making brand new fire apparatus unobtainable without municipal help. Whether it's 3 a.m. or 3 p.m., raining or snowing, your volunteer fire company answers the call and provides the assistance needed to rectify the situation. Please answer our call. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I did not mention at the beginning of the meeting that Mayor and Council did hold an executive session prior to the meeting pertaining to legal matters and contracts. I apologize for not bringing that up at the start of the meeting. The next on the agenda, I don't know, I hate to blindside my council members, but I have had requests for the shade tree appointments, and I know we have had them in our packet. Now, I do realize that I generally give the appointments in advance so that you have an opportunity to read over their resumes. But these 3 appointments, they are already on, so I'm just reappointing, so you should be familiar with who they are and what they can do. So I'm asking council if it would be permissible for me to reappoint these 3 positions.
Yes.
Is that okay? All right?
Yes.
How do I ask for a motion or do I just appoint? Okay, do I have a motion to appoint 3
I'll make the motion.
seated
Shade tree. I'll make the motion for the Shade Tree Commission.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. The people, and believe me, they had sent in an offer to be in attendance when their appointments were going to be made. Unfortunately, this falls on me. I delayed it too long, and the manager did not have time to let them know that the appointments were going to be tonight. So it's not that they just did not want to acknowledge the fact that they are being reappointed.
They're all there, Mayor. Mayor, they're in the back of the room. Would you like to stand up?
Please stand up. Oh, how nice. Now, you see, if I'd have seen you back there, I wouldn't have had to let the public know that I was delayed in making the appointments. All right, so, John, you did make the motion.
Yes, I did.
And it was seconded by Gary. The names of the appointees in your motion, John? Did you give it? No?
I don't have the paperwork.
Okay, Sandy Feather, stand. Yours is for a 2-year term. Tori DeJohn, yours is for a 2-year term. And Rick Duncan, 1-year term. Do I have any comments from the council on the appointees?
Just thank you for what they do.
Comments from council? All right.
Yep.
Roll call.
Okay. Mayor Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate the fact that you went along with my request. Thanks. Do I have a motion for July 15th, 2019 council meeting minutes?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman Underwood.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 15th, 2019, which obviously are council minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Are there any comments from anyone in the audience regarding the minutes? Comments from council?
No.
Roll call?
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Mayor Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Do I have a motion for expenditures for August 19th, 2019?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman Brodnicki.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve expenditures for August 19th, 2019. One journal voucher for $640,915.99. 25 CD requisitions for $42,733.02. And the master of 44157 to 4444 for $3,143,685.07 for a total of $3,827,334.08.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council? One moment, please. I was going to say, with not having Ed here anymore, I didn't know for sure what was checked. Thanks. Maureen, roll call?
Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Mayor Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Generally, the mayor presents her FYI, which is for your information, prior to the meeting. But with all the presentations that we had, I didn't want to take the time up and have our firemen and everyone have to sit and wait. So if you don't mind, I will present the mayor's FYI at this time. First, sale of former municipal building. The manager in planning met with a group based in New Jersey, the Michael Organization. They had an interest in the building, but they did not want to purchase. They were proposing for the municipality to hold a 30-year note on the building, and then they would attempt to line up tax credits, financing, and grants, which could take up to 3 years. After meeting with the manager and with planning, they presented to council that they didn't think this would be really a good fit for the municipality. And I agree with their decision. That being said, we do have some other possibilities, and we're hoping for the best. Penn Hills Library, Lincoln Park branch also. They have implemented a 2 weekly story time for babies and toddlers. A new plays pace has been incorporated into children's library that includes train tables, magnet tiles, blocks, and puzzles for young children to engage in imagination. They also have a youth community advisory board, recognize communities' youth, what their needs, wants, and interests are. 2 teen advisory boards are in place. First, age 12 to 15. Second, age 16 to 24. These youths then present to the board a feedback explaining what current trends and interests are. Then those programs and services are offered based on the feedback. We were very fortunate to have such a beautiful library. And the reason I really wanted to bring this up is so that everyone realizes how many activities are at our library. And we're fortunate to have it, and it is used, and I just want everyone to know that there's generally something for everyone at any age. Okay, now this is what a lot of people have been looking for. Mayor and council, through the manager and Councilman Petrucci, I believe, has brought to our attention savory citizens.
It's savvy citizen.
Okay, and what they represent is solving the communication problem. I just want to make everyone aware that does this mayor and council listen to what the residents ask for? They are a comprehensive notification system designed to keep residents informed on news events, reminders, and alerts on their own mobile internet devices. They try to improve the overall resident communication and civic engagement. Examples, if there's a trash pickup delay, a road closure, community event. They also send out emergency alerts. I'm certain my manager and council will be able to go into much more details in their reports. Illegal dumping, such a success. We have installed cameras throughout the areas that have the most illegal dumpings. And again, I will let the manager give a detailed information on just how many we have been able to cite and send to the magistrate office for fines. And it's really a huge success. And we are hopeful that as this goes into place more and more, the word will get out to those who thought they could always just go through certain areas of Penn Hills and dump, that that's no longer the case. This is somewhat a personal comment. I don't do social media. If you want to say something to me, you know where I'm at. Say it to my face and we can debate the issue. But there were comments made in regards to our finance director at Schreck and Gross last day of work. First of all, Ed wasn't just the financial director. He was my dearest friend. Ed was publicly acknowledged for his 50 years of service to Penn Hills. He did receive a plaque of recognition. Mayor and council invited his family to that meeting, unbeknown to Ed. And when Ed came into the chambers and saw them, he came over to me and said, "What did you do?" And that is because of the fact Ed was a very private person, and he did not like to be put on display in any way, shape, or form. And we on council acknowledged his contribution to this municipality on a regular basis at council meetings. It wasn't like, oh, he's leaving, so let's say something nice now. Ed was recognized by this mayor and council for the work that he did and the service he provided for over 50 years. I always made the comment, we will need 5 employees to do the job that Ed did alone. He will be missed, and this mayor and council would never have insulted him in any way. I just wanted that for the record because it was upsetting to me that someone would voice such a non-positive comment about the relationship that Ed had with his mayor and council. Okay. Now we go to agreements. Do I have a motion to approve an agreement to participate in the East Hills DUI Task Force?
Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve an agreement to participate in the East Hills DUI Task Force.
I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council? Roll call.
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Mayor Coon?
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to appoint, how do you say the first name? Mayor? Meyer Dussel as municipal auditor for 2020 through 2022, and authorize municipal manager to sign engagement letter on the municipality's behalf.
Mayor Kuhn?
Councilman Brodnicki?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Mehra Dussel as municipal auditor for 2020 to 2022 and authorize municipal manager to sign engagement letter on the municipality's behalf.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council? Roll call.
Mayor Kuhn,
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve agreement beginning August 19th, 2019 through June 20th, 2020 with Shaycog? Is that how you're saying it?
Yes, Shake.
Purchasing Alliance for purchase of rock salt.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement beginning August 19th, 2019 to June 20th, 2020 with Shaycog Purchasing Alliance for the purchase of rock salt.
I have a second.
Second, Mayor.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council? Roll call.
Mr. Brodnicki,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci,
Yes.
Mayor Kuhn.
Yes. This is another great positive direction that the mayor and council has taken. Do I have a motion to approve a contract addendum with Keystone Collection Group to allow for installment payments on real estate taxes?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve a contract addendum with Keystone Collection Group to allow for installment payments on real estate taxes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Please come up and state your name and your address.
My name is Bill Mouts. I live at 1335 Maple Avenue in Verona, PA. My question is, on these installment program, will there be a service fee added to that if you choose to do an installment program?
Yeah, I think the school district does it now. You're allowed to make up to 3 payments. And I think there is some minor fee if you want to make installment
You have no
payments.
idea what that fee might be?
Yeah, it's actually in the document. It's it's in the contract that's being approved.
Okay, thank you.
Can you give me one moment? I want to say it's $1. I want to say it's $1.50, but
That's what she said, $1.50.
yeah, it's $1.50. But I just want to make sure.
It was $1.50. When we
Yeah.
asked Rose up at the alum, she said it was going to be around $1.50, and that was covering postage and
Hang
the
on.
paper, right?
Correct.
Like that.
In the packet, it's listed in the contract addendum itself. It's listed. I'm just looking for it here.
Yeah, where is it?
I have it right here.
You got one?
Yeah, it's not in the packet today. Give me one moment.
Here it is. Here. I have it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's $1.50. And the school's been doing that, so.
Any other comments from the audience? Comments from council?
Madam Mayor, I also want to include that they get a 10% discount. Seniors get a 10% discount, we found out, on their municipal taxes.
And also, Dawn, I don't, if I'm not mistaken, that is also if they use the payment plan, is that correct?
Let's still get that.
The discount is also?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. It's a very, I think, good solution for a lot of people. Any other comments from council? Roll call?
Mayor Kuhn.
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki.
Yes.
Mr. Underwood.
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci.
Yes.
Do I have a motion for ordinance number 2000? Oh, I'm sorry. Right. This was what we had amended for the agreement. Do I have a motion to approve a contract addendum? That's what we just did.
We didn't do D, accept the MMO.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve an agreement to accept 2020 minimum municipal obligation?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman Brodnicki?
I'd like to make a motion, we approve an agreement to accept 2020 minimum municipal obligation, MMO.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council?
Scott, do you want to explain this, what
Sure.
we're voting on? So it's kind of,
What we're doing is, we're obligated by law, but the last day in September to let the mayor and council know what next year's pension bills are going to be. So essentially, we have two pension plans. We have a police pension plan and a non-police pension plan. And each of those plans has a financial obligation that has to be made every year. It's called an MMO. It's basically the minimum municipal obligation. It's the amount of funding that we have to include in our budget next year to maintain solvency in the funds. So what this represents is what our pension bills for those two plans will be next year so that it gets incorporated in our budget. The good news is that we didn't experience a big increase in either plan going into next year, but this is a big part of our budget every year because essentially it's about $3 million for the police plan and about $3 million for the police plan, about $300,000 for the non-police plan. So this is basically based on our actuarial advice that we get, and it's a calculation that Mock and Hop Services does with us along with our finance office. So that's what this is.
Does that suffice, John?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Roll call?
Mr. Underwood.
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci.
Yes.
Mayor Kuhn.
Yes.
And Mr. Brodnicki.
Yes.
Do I have a motion for ordinance number 2019-052?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman Underwood?
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 2019-051, an ordinance of the municipality of Penn Hills, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, no parking on Highland Road.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council? Roll call.
Mr. Underwood.
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci.
Yes.
Mayor Kuhn.
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki.
Yes.
Do I have a motion for resolution number 2019? Oh, we have that. That's what I was looking for. I
have it right here.
I don't see it. There we go. All right, thanks. Okay. Do I have a motion for ordinance number 2019-052?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman Brodnicki?
I'd like to make a motion, we approve ordinance number 052 of 2019, an ordinance of the municipality of Penn Hills amending ordinance 2567-2636 of 2014, 2018, the Penn Hills Vacant and Abandoned Property Ordinance, which provides measures for addressing deterioration and blight in the community and prescribes registration, maintenance, and security requirements.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. My name is Pauline Calabrese, 142 Crescent Hills Road. I just wonder if you could clarify what the phrase security requirements means.
If I'm not mistaken, do we have the representative in the audience, Scott?
Yeah, we do. Mr. Sedella was kind enough to come to the meeting. We've been working with this company for quite some time.
If you would want to come up and you probably could give a much more professional answer than I know I could.
Of course. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, members of the council, for having me here. My name is Kevin Seidella. I'm with ProChamps. I'm the Director of Sales. We're proud to manage your vacant and foreclosure registry program. And basically what we're trying to do here, what we're recommending, what we've worked with your staff on putting in front of you as a tightening up of the legislation. What you had on the books before, we basically inherited, and there's a lot of different things that we've learned over the years on ways to make sure you're registering more properties that are at risk of being a source of neighborhood blight. That's what this language represents. So to speak specifically to the security requirements, they're basically requirements that we put through the language on the responsible party who's registering the property. In most cases, it's a bank. So the bank's basically required to provide property maintenance when the home is sitting in a state of foreclosure. That's really what this language speaks to, part of what the language speaks to. But the main thing that this language does is require a semi-annual registration, because what we find is over the course of a year, a lot of these homes change hands a lot, and that's what we're trying to do.
And not to interrupt, but I also think when we say security requirements, sometimes the word security can mean a lot of different things. It's really speaking to keeping the building secure, not so much a surety. It's more or less fencing and making sure that the building can't be accessed to people breaking in and so on and so forth. So it means security rather than surety, if that makes sense.
Correct.
Would I be correct in basically saying that we've been using this service for some time? We've had a lot of success with it. And really, two of the big changes that we're seeking in this new amendment is to require banks register the property twice a year. We found that a lot of banks sell these mortgages and sell these financing vehicles so that, you know, Bank A might have registered the property in January. By December, it's in another bank's name. So one of the changes is that we're requiring the banks to register the properties twice a year. And the other issue is that we're trying to register all vacant properties, not ones that are just bank-owned. I think that's a tall order, obviously. Chris and I talked about today. There are some vacant properties that good luck finding the owner, and certainly good luck getting them to take service for notification, but we're going to try to register and make it a requirement for all vacant properties. And that's something that this company does on their own. They have a method of finding out which ones they are. So to the extent that we can, that's a good thing. And we have to try to find out how successful we'll be.
We're very proud of the work that we've done so far here in Penn Hills. We've registered 475 properties for you since we took over in January. But like Scott said, every once in a while we'll register a property in January. By October, everything changed because they change hands from bank to bank overnight, and they don't always tell us. We're only allowed to go and register the property once a year at this point. That's your law. We abide by that. So this gives us more ability to go in and stay on top of those properties to make sure you know who to talk to when there's a problem. But it's a service that's come to Penn Hills at absolutely no cost. We've never sent you a bill. As a matter of fact, I think it's over $140,000 collected in fees on your behalf by us since we started. So we're very proud of the work, and we're grateful for the opportunity to continue. Any other questions?
Was your question answered to your satisfaction, Pauline?
Yes, thank you very much. That was my
Thank you. Any other questions?
I'd like him to explain, just for the audience's sake, I understand it, but how the money was generated, what the registration fee is, what percentage goes back to you, what percentage goes back to the municipality, just so the audience can understand how this works.
Of course. So our company has a contract with the municipality to retain $100 of every fee that we collect. So we basically don't make money unless we're getting registration. So I like to say we sing for our supper. The fee is $400 total. So $300 gets sent back to the municipality of every registration that we collect. $100 goes to us. We send them a check every 30 days on the 15th of each month.
It's the other way around. We get the 100, you get the 300.
No, I don't
No.
think so. No, Chris.
No.
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 That's right, yeah.
We could renegotiate. No, I'm kidding. That's what we do for every municipality we work with.
Thank you.
No
You're
further
welcome.
questions? Roll call?
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Mayor Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Do I have a motion for resolution number 2019-034?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman Underwood?
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2019-034, approving the contract for 2 years with Nix Auto Incorporated for the maintenance, repair of municipal vehicles.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council? Roll call.
Mayor Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry, I abstained, being that Dawn Kuhn Auto Body had put a bid in also, so I'm abstaining on the vote.
Okay. Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Do I have a motion for resolution number 2019-035?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman Underwood?
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2019-035, approving a minor budget amendment to the Commonwealth Development Block Grant budget for years 43 and 44.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman?
can we have
Petrucci?
Manager Andrzejczak explain a little bit of this if he...
I'm going to defer to Mr. Blackwell.
Mr. Blackwell, could you explain a little bit to the audience what's going on here?
Sure, absolutely. If you look at the accounts that we're taking them from, some are sort of house cleaning. There's a $575.56 from the Senior Service Center vehicles. Those are activities where those vehicles have been purchased, and this is funds that are left over, and they need to be expended and reallocated to something else. Then you'll also see that there's the same thing with general program administration. Those years have passed. There's the 2017 and 2018. I believe this is actually 16 and 17 general program administration. Again, there's funds left there that we think that we could reallocate to other places. And then you'll also see there's program income. In the budget, we estimated $35,000 in program income, and we received a considerable amount more. We received $55,105. So but it leaves $37,143 that needs to be reprogrammed, because we received $37,143.96 more program income than we anticipated. That's program income comes from residents that pay back rehab loans. We have our single-family rehab program, and these are proceeds that come back to the municipality. So then you'll see down below here, I've got street improvements. We have a street paving for this year has been bid out. We have not been able to award it because we don't have CD funds yet, and we anticipate them coming before your September meeting. However, we did get bids. We received good bids. However, they were higher than the funds that we had available. So this budget amendment now is, I'm trying to get prepared so that when the street paving contract comes before you for award, the money's there. I think that we got some really good bids. The Public Works Department puts out a package that has alternates. This will be able to bid out the base bid plus the alternates. And then the William McKinley Center, we've been experiencing flooding there. And, in their basement, we have a project ongoing there. And in my letter to you, you'll see that I anticipate a change order. On site, we're seeing some issues that we didn't anticipate. And actually, as a result of the flood that occurred, it was sort of fortunate, in fact, that it overwhelmed the system, perhaps, the way it was designed. So we're looking at some other things out there, and we also have some other issues that have arisen since then. I believe the manager may have told you that there's a sinkhole in the ball field, in the soccer field. So again, we don't have time to bid these things out for this meeting, but I'm anticipating that we're going to need some money, so I'm putting funds there.
Thank you.
That's about it.
Any other comments? Come up and give your name and your address.
It's Brandy Whitecloud. I'm at 216 Emerald Drive. I just had a quick question on when Mr. Blackwell was about the funds that you guys have available for street paving. If you guys haven't noticed, on our street on 216 Emerald, you guys did partial paving from one end, stopped at one end of the other street, and it's crumbling. I've been there 10 years. It's literally crumbling, and grass is growing in between the cracks of the street. So with these funds that you might have possible available for the 2020 budget, is there a list that you guys have that you're adding streets on for pavement for the new year coming or for September? Because that street, along with that street crumbling, it's starting to be a street where we have a lot of overflow from Beulah Road. And I was just home for a whole vacation, a whole week, and people are going down that street 70 miles an hour. And it's starting to wear and tear from all the overflow of people trying not to go to the top of Beulah and cut off on Emerald Drive. So the street is literally crumbling and falling into the sewers and just crumbling from people driving on it constantly. So is there any money, along with what you said you might have possible funds for this pavement to be done on this street? And how would we go about showing you guys or coming down to actually see how this street actually looks?
Are you familiar with the street that she's questioning?
I'm not specifically familiar with Embrose Street, but what we're doing is we have multiple sources of money that we use for paving. So some of the money that Chris is alluding to, it can only be spent in certain places.
Okay.
So in addition to that, we also have a local municipal paving program. We just last month approved a contract with Liberoni to pave a number of roads, I think about $600,000 worth, if I'm not mistaken. In addition to that, we also have a $4 million paving program that we're going to begin in 2020 that's going to probably last 3 years, 2 or 3 years. So it could very well be that road is either on the list to be paved this summer with the Liberoni contract. I don't have the list of roads in front of me. It's also possible that if it isn't, it may be on one of those future projects that we are we're finalizing the contract with PennDOT to include the specific roads that'll be in what we're calling the Multimodal Grant.
Okay.
We were awarded a grant last year for $3 million.
From the state?
From the state, and we have to put up $900,000. But it's $3 million over 3 years, and our $900,000 is over 3 years. So we are going to be ramping up our paving program in 2021 and 22. So I would have to determine and find out whether that's on the list. It sounds like it should be if it's that bad. I don't claim to have. I haven't seen it specifically. I don't recall getting any calls about it, but I could talk to our public works director and find out if that's on the list. Maybe we could take a look at it. Can you give me your number?
I can, and I just have one more follow-up question. Along with the street being repaved, again, we have I was home
Speeding.
for a whole week, and people are doing like 60, you can literally hear them. It's like the Indy 500 down on my street, and people are doing like 60 miles an hour. We have one slow sign that's probably been down there for probably before I moved there. Is there any way there can be some additional signs on that street? Because again, it literally, you can hear people burning rubber down that street because it is like, again, if you don't want to sit at that light on Beulah, at the top of Beulah to go to Frankstown, you cut off down my street. If there were radar guns down there, you guys would make a boatload of money. I'm just telling you, it's ridiculous. That's how many people are. I'm not even trying to be funny, but I'm just saying, it's literally every day. Like if I'm trying to get in my driveway, people are right on me just so they can get past me, and they don't even care. Like if they speed past you, if you're walking across the street, it's that bad. But there's one sign literally probably halfway past my house. The next house has a sign that's probably been there for over 20 years, I'd imagine. I've been there 10, that we can get some signs that try and slow these people down. I'm actually gonna purchase some signs myself just to put in my yard, because I think it's at the point where it's getting dangerous, where if you're coming down that street, somebody's gonna get hurt, and we don't want to see people getting hurt down there. And it's just, people just have no regard that it's a residential area, and they need to slow down as they come down the street. They think it's a gateway to get off of Beulah, and so they take their opportunity to speed down there because they know there's no police on the street. It's residential, it's very quiet, and so they're doing, I can guarantee you, about 60 to 70 miles an hour. And it's a two-way. Very small, but it's a two-way. And so if we can get some street signs down there, it would be fantastic. I bought a couple to put just in my yard, just to try and, get people's attention as they come around the bend and like slow down. It's ridiculous. So on top of that, if you guys can consider that as somebody can come down, take a look, and see if we can get a couple more signs to kind of slow these people down.
Yeah, there's a couple things the municipality can do. It's a complaint that we get, it seems, more frequently in residential areas. We've had some tragedies too.
That's what we want to avoid.
Every situation's a little bit different. Sometimes it could be a signage issue. We also have some electronic signs that show people how fast they're going.
Yeah, we have one.
You did have that?
We had one last year, and the sign did not deter anyone, no. Matter of fact, the sign was on and people were going even faster. So it really didn't even make a difference to most people who come down the street, because they don't live in the area. So,
Well, then there's also enforcement too, is another thing.
And yeah, that would be something to consider.
That might be what has to happen. But what I could do is I could talk to our police department, and we also have a traffic safety committee.
Okay.
And they sometimes make recommendations. It's a difficult problem that we have in some places.
Okay.
Penn Hills is mostly residential.
Right.
And it's a concern that we've heard here in this room, and we've got some calls, and there are things we could do, but we don't have unlimited options. Okay. We have better signage, we have enforcement, but it depends on the circumstance. We've been able to install stop signs in certain places to try to slow traffic, but certainly I will call the right people's attention to it.
Appreciate
and also check on the paving situation too.
And it's okay for me as a resident to put a sign, like I bought a mini sign. Yeah, like one of those little, they're like a little man sign that you can put in your yard. They sell them plastic.
I'm not going to complain about it.
Okay. I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm trying to, get some attention to people to try and slow down. It would be nice, so.
Where do we pave it?
Say again?
Where do we pave it?
Oh, okay, all right.
When they're really apply.
We hope not.
We had when we were having sewer work on.
Scott, just to, if conditions are that bad for a residential area in Penn Hills, I don't think an answer stating that there's not much we can do about it. So if you could do some personal investigation on your own, and then any amount of police presence could perhaps lessen the problem that's there. And then I don't know the legalities, but is there any way that you could put us, just like with the area between Penn Hills and Penn Center, they have 25-mile-an-hour speed limit because people were always cutting through there. So it needs to be addressed and looked into because of the fact that residents should not have to live under that condition of people breaking the law right in front of their house every day. It's up to the municipality to use everything they can possibly do to make the situation safer. So I don't know, like I said, I'd like you to look at this yourself and then perhaps get the chief involved to see if he has any information, and if you have to, maybe the traffic safety board to go over and look at the condition. But the condition has to be addressed, you know. Okay? Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion for resolution number 2019-035?
We just have to do
still on the
roll
budget.
Is that the wrong motion?
No. We have to vote on
We
it.
just need roll call.
Oh, we did? On this one?
That's how you got the public comment.
You need a roll call.
What?
You need to vote on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was, no comments from council.
Right.
Roll call.
Okay. Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Mayor Coon?
Yes. Do I have a motion for resolution number 2019-036?
Mayor Coon,
Councilman Underwood.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2019-036, awarding the remaining structures of the demolition Ryan 12 project to the second lowest bidder, Letterman Excavation, after failing to perform from the first lowest bidder, Jadel Mansfield Construction.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council? Roll call.
Mayor, can I just add one thing to this?
I'm sorry, Chris, what?
I just want to add one comment. On the 12409 Frankstown Road, there's been discussion of a large tree that fell on that property, and we are working to take care of that. I know there's been some concern that at this house that's being demolished, there's also a large tree that fell in the time that we've been waiting, and our intent is to take care of that tree at the same time. Thank you.
Any questions from council?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Mayor Coon?
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Do I have a motion for resolution number 2019-037?
Mayor Kuhn, I'll make a motion for a resolution of the Municipality of Penn Hills, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, authorizing the manager to be designated official to sign and complete all documents and agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation Multimodal Transportation Fund grant application.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from council?
Mayor Kuhn,
Councilman Brodnicki?
could Scott explain this and where we got it from again?
Yeah, this is sort of this is another Hail Mary pass, if you will. We did a Hail Mary pass last year, and we were really fortunate to get the largest award in the state for paving money that I was just describing. That money came from PennDOT. This is essentially the same program, only it's not through PennDOT. It's through the State Department of Community and Economic Development. So we worked with the consultant last year on maybe getting that application in. We were successful. So this opened up, and we're going to put an application in for this. Quite honestly, we may get it, we may not, but we haven't even signed the PennDOT contract yet for that first $3 million. So, you know, we may get it, we may not, but if we don't, we could always dust off the application next round or the next round after that. So,
thank you.
That's basically what it is.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Mr. Underwood?
Yes.
Mr. Petrucci?
Yes.
Mayor Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Brodnicki?
Yes.
Do we have any items for consideration?
Mayor Kuhn?
Councilman Petrucci, was that you, Joe?
Yes, ma'am. I have one here. Over the last year, we have talked extensively about our sewage and the problems that face our community. On 9/13/18, during a conversation with Tom O'Grady, Director of Water Pollution, the need for establishment of a sewer authority was discussed. Mr. O'Grady said it was long overdue for our community and could benefit the community in many ways. At this point in time, I'm proposing that the manager do an analysis to start a sewer authority in Penn Hills and to see if it's possibly that may be our salvation in the sewer problem that we have now. So I'm submitting this to the manager.
Regarding the sewer authority, John, back probably in, possibly late 70s or early 80s, the administration at that time did do a background search and had a motion in place to have a sewer authority.
That's what I understood.
Yes, and it was passed.
I understood that too.
Right, and unfortunately, the one council member who voted for it, for whatever reason, after the meeting, the very next morning, very early, he called and rescinded his vote. So after that, there didn't seem to be any interest for the sewer authority. I know Plum Borough had one for years and years and years. So I think it is well worth looking into to see if it could alleviate some of the problems and go from there. So I think it's a very good subject to look into.
Yeah, I believe it is also, especially when I spoke with Mr. O'Grady back then, and he did mention it's long overdue, like I did say, and Scott and I have talked about it on numerous occasions, and it could be very beneficial to the community.
Right. I mean, something new is always good to look into. It doesn't do any harm to try to move in a different direction on some things. So I think that would be good, and Scott, you can just present to Mayor and Council any findings that you have. Are there any other
Mayor Kuhn?
considerations to be put into place?
Yeah, Mayor Kuhn?
Items?
Yes, I've had several residents just ask me if we could just move the citizens to address council back to the beginning of the meeting, because they sort of feel that it dissuades.
Well,
they don't wanna
I
sit
know
through it.
that, I don't recall exactly when that was implemented, but I have no problem with that because of the fact that it's very hard to wait to the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you don't have the amount of people who are in. But of course, that being said, with the being televised, that helps a great deal because of the fact that anyone who is interested is able to see exactly what is going on. That was, if I'm not mistaken, agreed upon by all council.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
You know.
people have asked me about that.
Right. No, I'm just saying I don't want
No.
the public or media to think that that was not a unanimous vote to have it moved to the end of the meeting. That can very well be looked into. I have no problem with it in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Do we have any other items for consideration from the board? Introductions of ordinances and resolutions. Anyone?
No.
The municipality, mayor and council, back in, I believe it was late December or early January, had voted on a resolution for background checks for anyone who is wanting to be appointed to a board or to those who are already seated at the board. It was done at a public meeting, and it was discussed, it was advertised, and naturally, as with everything, the audience was asked if they had any comments, and none were presented. So the general opinion of mayor and council was that the environment that unfortunately our country is in at this point in time, we have to be extremely aware, and we also have to be cautious in every aspect because of the fact that the violence is so extreme, you cannot be careless anymore. So that was the reason for presenting the ordinance, which is in place. Now, since the ordinance was voted on, there seems to be some questions on exactly what can and cannot be done if someone does not provide a background check. So mayor and council and the solicitor have looked into this again, and we, as a unit, have addressed what we think needs to be specified clearer. And so we are not going to rescind the ordinance, but we are going to amend it to put the exact language that needs to be done. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that, because I understand there's been a lot of chatter on the background checks. And it's going to be commonplace because of the fact that I've had mayors from other communities contact me and say that they are looking into presenting the same type of ordinance or resolution, because of the fact that we have to know who we are putting in places. Mayor, you can't run for mayor or council if you have a felony. So some of our boards are boards that vote on issues that affect the entire community. So we felt that this is a necessary step to take. So you will be seeing an amendment to that ordinance. So I just wanted everyone to understand that it's not that we're making another one. We're just adding language to the one that's in existence. Does anyone else have any ordinances or resolutions? Reports.
Mayor Kuhn.
Councilman Petruzzi.
I have a few issues I'd like to discuss, or a few reports that I want to talk about. First, I would like to salute the brave men and women firefighters that worked all night at the fire at Churchill Plaza also. They went above and beyond the scope of their duties to fight that fire. All of them are volunteers and do not get paid, and if you see one of them, thank them for their services. And please donate to your local fire company in your area. We need these brave men and women in our community. And thank you to all the first responders, the police, and the EMS. Another volunteer that I have to applaud was a young lady named Jane Rambha, Mehra, and all of her volunteers that served and donated the spaghetti dinner that served them, the firefighters, in July after the fire to show the community appreciation, along with numerous cookies they delivered to all the fire stations. Jane Rambha Mehra also delivered cookies and cases of water to following fire stations and departments: Churchill, River's Edge and Braddock, Edgewood, Forest Hills, Monroeville, Monroeville number 4, Monroeville number 6, Holiday Park, Oakmont, Wilkins, Munhall, Murraysville, Medic 1, and I think that was a wonderful thing that she did. Other issue, had a fantastic time at the Penn Hills Summerfest at Turner Friendship Park. What a great event. So many fun activities for our family, friends and family. I'd like to thank Penn Hills Parks and Recreation and the Park and Rec Advisory Committee for all their hard work putting the event together. Additionally, I'd like to thank all the municipalities, municipal departments who supported yesterday's the festival, that would the Summerfest Festival, including DPW, Penn Hills Police, Penn Hills EMS, and more. Thank you. Thanks to everyone to making it a success. And thanks to all the residents that came out. We hope to see you all at the next park event, which would be Autumn in the Hills this fall. Thank you to Melissa Waldron for all her hard work. Brittany Norris and her group Positive Voice raised enough money to purchase a new dog kennel for the municipality. On August 10th, they built the dog kennels for their outside, and they did a wonderful job and deserve a big thank you for all the accomplishments, for all they have accomplished for the municipality and the animals that are lost. Thank you, and I'm just going to read a brief description. The indoor kennels are comprised of powder-coated steel and feature auto-locking doors and drop-through floors to keep the dogs clean in case they have an accident in the cage. The outdoor kennels feature more running space with a large doghouse, cot, sanitary floor, eco-friendly, in-ground septic tank, and a heavy-duty canvas roof and sides, helping give them shade and warmth in the seasons. This was The Penn Hills is happy to announce the addition of 3 new kennels. It's 3 to be used by the Penn Hills Police for short-term holding of stray dogs. These kennels were made possible by the fundraising efforts of the Penn Hills local animal advocacy group, PAWS, Positive Voice. So that was something that was positive for the community. We started rebranding the garbage cans that I donated with the new Keep the Penn Hills Beautiful logo. Their overwhelming response of the community for the like of this logo was outstanding. Many residents have wanted the logo sticker for their own garbage cans and recycle cans. We are taking orders for them for the logo stickers, and they will be $10. Just to let you know that the $8 goes towards the stickers, and $2 will be put towards purchasing of new cans that will be placed in different locations throughout the community. Our first can will be placed at Frankstown and the High Point. Frank Allison has agreed to empty it. Remember, we need volunteers to empty them, so if you request one of the specific location, there must be somebody to empty it. Anyone wanting a Penn Hills Beautiful logo sticker can instant message Tyler Thomasino or myself. A sticker must be paid in advance before purchase. So that was done. I want to talk a little bit about our economic development team. Their mission statement is, the purpose of the Economic Development Committee is to promote Penn Hills and invite new businesses into the area. The committee assesses the current and ongoing business climate in the area and submits recommendations to the council with the intention of maintaining a strong economic base in the municipality. Right now, they had a meeting on August 15th, and they've talked about a lot of things. Library website, updating it, approval of 2 new logos, CDC Shop Local, they're thinking about taking that over. They have a New Sun Rising program, and for you that are not familiar with the New Sun Rising program, the New Sun Rising program is a nonprofit 501c3 community development organization with a mission to build vibrant communities through culture, sustainability, and the opportunity. We do this through innovative programs and service that increase the effectiveness of nonprofit sector, which as a response capacity building an intermediate funding. Programs are developed through the NSR Vibrant Communities framework, which strengthens 150 plus nonprofit and small businesses leaders each year while connecting them with over $2 million in low barrier funding and finance. In the short, that this group here has helped in the revitalization of Millville and some other different surrounding communities. What we did is, I guess what they did, not we, they did, they went out and they reached out to a gentleman in charge of it, and they brought him into our community, and he's going to have a workshop on, I believe it's the 29th, I believe it was to be the 29th, where they're going to have a gathering of different professionals and residents throughout the community to talk about how we can improve some of the things in Penn Hills. So I believe that's the 29th, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, that's the 29th, Tina. It's going to be at the library. Okay, it'll be at the library on the 29th. Some of the people that are coming will be Eustace Thomas, Amy Alexander, Kathy Anker, Sean Shannon, Devon Getz, Leonard Hammonds, Joyce Davis, Jason Lee, Jason Moore, Faith Malazzo, Kathy Gates, and Tamara Roach. These folks here will be, they were picked out of a large pool, and they will be talking about how we can do some things in Penn Hills. Another thing they were talking about at the economic development was tax abatement. Is one of the items they're working to entice businesses here. Walmart executives are coming to survey the property up on Salzburg Road and on the Penn Hills Plum border. If we could offer them an incentive to move here, that would be wonderful. Also, Starbucks was contacted, and they have an interest in set up a store in Penn Hills and possibly the PNC spot on Salzburg Road. If you're not familiar, PNC is leaving. They're merging with the one on Rodi, and that building will be empty. And the economic development team reached out to them, and they said they'd be glad to take a look at it. They've been looking for a place to move into Penn Hills, so that would be Starbucks. I'd like to thank Kathy Sutton of the economic development team. for her lead in the Attorney General's office possibly purchasing the old municipal building. Kathy works for the AG's office, and she heard they were looking for a new space and immediately advised them of our old municipal building. So that would have 200 agents at that location, and they're going to take a look at that. I also have a meeting with a developer this week that's interested in purchasing the old building, so hopefully we can get a sale done soon of that property. We're starting to get some more and more people interested in that property. One thing I did see, I'm going to mention, is that I've seen that we still have political signs around. Some say DeFazio, some say Fitzgerald, some say McCarthy, many on Verona Road. My proposal at the last meeting of an ordinance would address this issue. Signs left around our municipality are like municipality like this are not only litter, but disrespect the community as a whole. I see the vice chairman's here from the Democratic Party. Maybe, Pauline, you can give them a call and see if you can get these signs picked up and properly disposed of, please. We had our first case this morning with the, well, this was back on August 15th. This morning, the local magisterial district judge, Anthony DeLuca Jr., found the person that was dumping guilty and gave him a judgment of $2,000 plus the cost to clean up, which was $2,800. We are pleased with the judgment. However, we are well aware he will appeal in the Common Pleas Court. Judge Nahas will hear the case. So that's something positive also. Savvy Citizen, the mayor had mentioned this. We had looked at this back in 2017, I believe. Was it 2017, Mayor?
Yes.
About 2017. And Penn Hills residents, your municipality wants you to communicate with you. Download the free Savvy Citizen app and get real-time updates on what's happening in your area. These notifications include helpful information, community and family events, road closures, safety updates, and much more. And I believe we're going to put some kind of notification in the water bill.
Yeah, that's correct. I know the mayor had asked me to make mention of it, and I can do that now. We were talking for a long time about finding better ways to communicate with residents and get certain things out there. That's one reason why we now have the meetings videotaped. I don't know whether you've seen the production that we get from Mr. Lagateria, but he does a pretty good job for us. He's been doing some other things like these promotional videos. Our IT department spent a lot of time looking at the best app that we could find that's out there, talking to people, looking at not only pricing but also what other communities' experiences are with these. You can actually download Savvy Citizen right now. Right. There's not going to be anything on it for Penn Hills yet because until Savvy Citizen gets paid a little bit later this week, we won't be able to put anything on there. But we're hoping to use it to send direct text messages to residents that sign up. You download the app, and then you tell the app how you want to get contacted and how often you want to get contacted. You can get contacted by email. You can get contacted by text message. What we're going to use it for is to get alerts out to the public, especially when there's road closures, things of that nature. There's going to be a calendar of events, so things like Summerfest, people could find out about it if they're signed up for the app. The app's only going to be as helpful as the number of people that sign up for it. So if no one signs up for it, then it's not going to be very effective. We're going to try to put information out in the Oakmont water bill, giving people information to sign up that way. There's going to be information on our Facebook page and other ways. So you can actually download it now. Some of our neighbors are using it, and you can actually see what's going on in other communities as well. I know Wilkins and Plum, just to name two, use it. But you can deselect them if you just want to see Penn Hills. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks you hear more about it. Again, it's Savvy Citizen. You can download it for free. And probably later this week, maybe later, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the week if we have our calendar up and running. So look forward to that.
Thank you, Scott. And last, we did get a draft from Manager Andrejchak about the fireworks and the noise ordinance, and I think it's a very good one. It's going to cover both fireworks and noise in the same ordinance. And hopefully you'll get this together. And I believe Chris is on board with this also. You saw this, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. I shared it with mayor and council. as basically a really rough draft, and I also shared it with our staff to get some feedback. I talked to Howard about it today. He thinks that there's some good things about it, but we have to adapt it to meet our needs.
Right.
So I think probably if we have it in September or October, but we think it gives us a good solution for a number of reasons. So I'm sure we'll have more discussion about that when it comes.
Okay, thank you. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Gary, any report?
Fine, thank you.
Mark? Okay, then we will move to citizens to address council. The first is Pat Nizer.
Is Pat here?
I don't see Pat.
Pat Nizer?
Oh, she left.
Okay. And the next is Pauline Calabrese on flooding and ethics.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Council, for letting me speak. Just briefly on flooding, certainly we have to look at the sewer system, including the pumps and so forth. But I've had some folks that tell me about things like, I've never been there, but there's a creek behind Beulah Road, there's a shopping cart in there. Certainly this weekend, anybody who was at the concert in the park, you saw the creek, the damage that Plum Creek had done to the Penn Hills Park. My understanding of federal law, and I'm certainly not here to tell anyone how to do their job, but I would just love it if we would take advantage of other resources. If we could ask, my understanding is that that's a federal issue. We frankly need more dredging. There should not be a shopping cart in a creek, these sorts of things. So I would just suggest that we take advantage of federal resources and do more dredging and do so more often. The second issue is ethics. I applaud Councilman Brodnicki for, I believe it was under items of consideration, he wanted to have the ethics legislation put in place. That was mentioned and then it never went anywhere. I do hope that that is because you're all considering the language. I would love to see the ethics provisions put in place. I found it quite troubling last meeting that we had the towing contract. I don't have a problem with the towing contract. I don't have,
It's working.
It's working? I don't have a problem with the towing contract per se. The problem I have is with the process, the way that it was done. We're often told about the quote-unquote laundry list. We hear about when an email goes out, the specific time of day that the email has gone out. And yet at the last meeting, Councilman Petruzzi had a note or some piece of paper. The public did not get to see it. And Councilman, I believe you said I don't know if you either met with these people in person or you telephoned them. Were they telephone calls?
They were called. Each one of them was individually called.
And
Each one of them was individually called.
So I put in a right to know request and I was given a copy of the contract and I asked for a copy of the document that council was shown but the public was not shown. My request has not been denied, but I haven't received that yet. I just think when we think about ethics, not only is it, we need to talk about also the appearance of impropriety. Everything may have been completely above board, but I think that the public should get to see those documents. I would like to know who was called. I would like to know when the calls were made. Were they all made on the same day?
Really and truthfully, Pauline, every council person, it is their job that once they receive their agenda, they are to go through everything that is going to be voted on, and they are supposed to research, and they also are supposed to get factual
I understand. I just wonder.
No, you spoke. I'm just answering what you have said. I'll let you continue. And to ask for, now, if Mr. Petrucci would have put his his comments, and asked them to be part of the minutes, then yes, anyone would have the right to ask for those. But what you're suggesting is, if a council person goes through 10 resolutions and ordinances and writes down what they've said or what they haven't said, especially in the case that you presented, you did not question that when you were sitting in the audience and Mr. Petrucci was reading those. That would have been the time that you could have questioned it. To come up 2 or 3 weeks later, what would make anyone think that somebody keeps their handwritten notes after a meeting? So what you're saying then is anything that mayor and council research on their own for their own information, you feel that you have the right to ask for their handwritten notes when they are not part of the record. And secondly, waiting as long as you did, I don't keep all my notes that I write down for each meeting. I would have a room full of paper. So I'm very surprised, Pauline, because I know you. I know you very well. And I always have respected you. But to ask this is so disappointing to me because there's no substance to it. And Pauline, you're much better than that. You're much better than this.
May I speak?
Go ahead. Oh, because I still have things as far as the comments on the towing contract. So go ahead, keep speaking, but I will answer comments that you make. That's what council meetings are for dialogue between mayor and council and the public.
Well, thank you, and I do appreciate the respect that you have shown me, and your kind words are very much appreciated. I think you misunderstood what I'm asking. I have no idea, nor does the public know, whether or not those are handwritten notes. We have no idea. I don't know if you're taking notes now, and I don't know if you take notes when you go home. But I do know at the last meeting, which was well over 3 weeks ago, and so this is the first opportunity that I have to come before this body, not just for myself, but for anybody in the audience who would like to know. What happened at that meeting was, Councilman Petrucci said, I talked to several towing companies, and I got their costs. And then he took a document, he said, I have 5 copies here, and he gave it out to each one of the council members. I believe that whenever you're voting on something that is involving taxpayer money, that we really should get to see the same documents that everyone sees.
Let me just interject. When you made the statement, taxpayers' money, okay? And you're referencing the comments that Mr. Petrucci made regarding my husband's business.
No, with all due respect.
No. I'm
just
just
to
saying
clarify.
what you repeated, and we
Just-
can ask
just to
her.
clarify.
You said anything relating to taxpayers' money.
That's right.
Pauline, do you realize, did you call the manager? Did you call the mayor? Did you call anyone on the board when this was presented that it was going to be an agenda item? Did you call to get any information? Because if you would seen, Pauline, that there is no taxpayers' money presented to Dawn Kuhn Auto Body.
That wasn't my statement.
Auto Body's contract, if you would have read it and not just taken pieces of it, you would see there's no funding from the municipality to Don Kuhn Auto Body for his services. He's a service to the Penn Hills Police and the municipality. If he tows anyone's vehicle, yours, Frank's, anyone, the municipality does not pay a penny for that.
I understand that.
He is either paid by the insurance company, or he is paid by the owner, or they abandon those cars on his lot, and he does get $15 from the state for every car that he processes.
I understand
so
the
do not
contract.
make the public think that there's taxpayers' money going to Don Kuhn Auto Body. And I will tell you another thing. When Don Kuhn Auto Body sends in his proposals, he attaches anywhere from 5 to 8 different towing companies. I mean, it's not a secret, Pauline.
I understand, and I did a right to know.
He attaches.
I did a right to know, Your Honor. I did a right to know, and I received
He
it.
attaches so that he is presenting to mayor and council what the other vendors charge compared to what he charges, okay? You were in the audience, Pauline.
Yes, I was, Your Honor, and that's why I'm here to speak.
Were you
I'm not
in the
here to
audience
argue
when
with
the-
you.
when the contract came up? Were you in the audience?
I'm not here to argue with you about Don
I'm
Kuhn.
not arguing, but I am not going to permit you to make statements that is going through the televised to everyone saying that John Petrucci's
You're apparently not going to permit me to make
who he
complete
called
statements.
in that should be presented because it's taxpayers' money. Making that statement, Pauline, you're making and alluding to the public that Mr. Kuhn's receiving money from taxpayers.
Well, let me clarify then exactly what I said. Anytime the taxpayers, and these are the people who are in the audience.
Honey, can you please speak directly into if you want to talk to the audience, please turn the mic so you're speaking into the mic.
Well, I'd like to say that anytime anybody in this audience who is a resident, a taxpayer, or an interested individual, they have the right to see the documents. That's why this is what we were given tonight. We have the right to see the document. I don't need to see, they don't need to see, we don't expect to see any of your handwritten notes.
Well, that's what you're asking.
No, I'm not. If I may, Your Honor, if I could simply finish. I'm not here to argue with you. I'd like to make a statement.
I didn't think we were arguing. I think we were expressing both our opinions.
Well, it sounds to me as if you're defending Don Kuhn Auto, and I don't have a problem with Don Kuhn
Well,
Auto.
let me tell you something. I'm the mayor of Penn Hills.
I understand.
I defend the residents, my board members, my staff, and any business in Penn Hills. So just because I'm the mayor, Pauline, that doesn't mean that I won't defend a 50-plus year business in this municipality because of the fact he's a sole proprietor, but he's my husband. But he's also a business owner in the municipality of Penn Hills. And I will defend him just as I would defend any other business owner
And I
in
certainly
Penn Hills from comments that are not accurate. So am I defending him because he's my husband? No, Pauline. I'm defending him because he's a business owner in Penn Hills. Go forward.
Your Honor, it would make no difference to me whether you defended him because he's your husband or a business owner, and I would expect no less. You miss my point. My point is about the process. My point is not about the individual who received the contract or the entity. My point is the process. I have a right to know request submitted. It makes no difference to me whether or not I ever see that document, because Councilman Petrucci is here and he can answer the question right now. My question is, under this process, the only difference it makes that you are the mayor married to the entity that received the contract, the only difference is if we do not have complete transparency, then it gives the appearance of impropriety. And that doesn't have to be. That's unnecessary. So everything should be above board. When a process...
So disappointing. So disappointing.
Well, that's a personal...
What transparency so that we get what actually you're asking for, Pauline?
What I'm asking for...
No, I'm asking you. Will you tell me specifically what transparency was not presented when Don Kuhn Auto Body put in his bid for their towing contract? Where was the secret that wasn't transparent?
There was a document that was passed among council members that was not passed to the
so
public.
you're saying the transparency wasn't Don Kuhn Auto Body?
I have no problem with Don Kuhn Auto Body.
No, you do have a problem.
I do not.
Pauline, because of the fact, let me explain this to you. As I said, Don Kuhn Auto Body Towing does not receive any funding from the municipality. Number two, the state law, the municipality can not have to bid if the funding is less than 10,000. Well, I would believe next to zero is less than 10,000. So the question of why that wasn't bid, it didn't have to be bid. Now, do you want me to show you how many other contracts have been renewed without bidding? Nick's, who we just did tonight, for all the times that he's been renewed, it was renewed, Pauline, not bid, and he receives a great deal of taxpayers' money. Number two, this ethics that you and Mr. Brodnicki saw fit to put into the media, even though you both were at the meeting and didn't express it at that time, giving the opportunity to give you the facts. Instead, you sat quietly, and then both of you went to the media. Mr. Brodnicki, as a councilman, sat there and said, oh, he does a good job, he does a lot for us. He voted no. But he didn't say anything that he put into his comments in the paper, because you see, if he would have presented it to mayor and council when the agenda item was up, and we say to the audience, is there any questions from the audience? You gave none, Pauline.
I had none at that time. I assumed that this body would adopt.
Then, Mr. Brodnicki, the mayor says, is there any comments from the council? No comments were made. The comments were made when there was no one who could challenge the comments that they made. And the comment that I don't think family members should be on the board if they have a family member who does business. Let me tell you one thing. I was appointed in 2004 to council.
With all due respect,
I was appointed
that was not my comment.
I was appointed in 2004 by Mayor Anthony DeLuca Jr. And when he approached me to take the appointment, I said to Anthony, Anthony, you know Dawn has a contract with the municipality. Will there be any conflict with me being on the board and my husband having a contract, my mayor, who will always be my mayor, Mayor Anthony DeLuca Jr., who is the most honorable young man and has integrity, said to me, there's no conflict. The only thing you would have to do is not vote on anything pertaining to Don Kuhn Auto Body. While I sat on planning, and while I sat, Pauline, as deputy mayor and mayor, Don Kuhn Auto Body's contract was renewed 6 times while I was sitting here.
You missed my point.
6 times, Pauline.
You keep missing my point.
By different administrations, mayors, councilmen, 6 different times. And none of them ever questioned my being on council and my husband having a towing contract.
I'm not questioning that. You keep missing my
Pauline,
point.
You most certainly did in the article, as did Mr. Brodnicki.
You keep missing my point.
Now, here's a point that I am so absolutely surprised on. You and Mr. Brodnicki make comments towards my husband's business, making and defrauding him to the public, because making them think he got this contract because his wife's the mayor. He got this contract in 1976. I did not come on council to 2004. Okay.
Apparently you're just going to keep cutting me off.
You're saying taxpayers' money,
You're not
which
going to
there isn't any. But I didn't hear you, and I didn't read anything Mr. Brodnicki said about the fact that for 40 years, Don Kuhn Auto Body has towed every single police vehicle free of charge, every ambulance free of charge, every senior center vehicles free of charge, every public works free of charge, every Department of Water Pollution free of charge. So you want to talk about taxpayers' money?
No, I don't.
No,
I want to talk
you did.
about ethics.
You made the comment, taxpayers' money,
May I
referencing
finish?
my husband.
May I finish?
Pauline, you have a right to speak, but
May I
Pauline, so
speak-
do I.
May I speak uninterrupted?
May you speak what?
Uninterrupted. Every time I speak, you cut me off.
I don't interrupt, so that's a phrase that people use because of the fact it's not interrupting, Pauline. It's answering.
I'm not asking anything.
You're presenting comments at this council meeting to the public. You are asking questions to the public. As the mayor of Penn Hills, when anyone is making any type of comment, especially derogatory, it is my not only right, but my job to answer your comments. You can ask me, Pauline.
I'm not asking
any
Your Honor.
comment you want, but I will not permit politics because of the fact you're running for mayor.
Excuse me, I came up here and said my name as a resident. You're
Yeah.
the one that's bringing that up. I'm not.
I'm a resident too, Pauline.
You're
But
sitting
here's
there
my
as
question
mayor.
to you, Pauline.
You're sitting there as mayor, and I'm standing here as a resident, and I would like permission to
Let me tell you
speak
something.
uninterrupted.
I'm a resident, Pauline.
Not in that seat, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm not a resident. I wouldn't be allowed to be in this seat, Pauline, if I wasn't a resident.
With all due respect,
Go
may I
ahead,
finish?
Pauline. Let's see what you're actually.
Yes, let me
Say.
speak. May I speak uninterrupted? First of all, I said as taxpayers, they have the right to come before this body and ask questions. I'm not here about taxpayers. I understood the contract and I read it. I'm here to talk about ethics. You have taken this so far afield. I suppose if you're saying, surely you're not saying that there's no monetary value to that contract. I don't think that's what you're saying. Because
all right, go ahead, Pauline, but you make comments, Pauline, that are so unfactual. You're saying that, you say there's no monetary value to that
there
contract.
certainly is.
I said there's no taxpayers' money to that contract. Whoever's giving you your script, Pauline, tell them to come up and give it to me face to face.
You know, I don't come here to be insulted. I come here as a resident to speak.
Well,
I have
then
no script here. I'm holding only the documents that was provided me by this government entity. There is not one line from here that I am reading. My only question was whether or not the public is going to see those documents. I have a right to know request put in place. It hasn't been denied. It's pending, so I don't know. Maybe I will see it. I have no idea what document was passed out to that body because I haven't seen it. I'm here to say that I would like to see the ethics move forward, the ethics legislation that Mr. Brodnicki proposed. I'd like to see that move forward because we have the appearance of impropriety. The difference between Nick's Auto Body and Kuhn Towing is the mayor is not married to Nick's Auto Body. Everything is, if it's above board, then just show it. There's no problem. I'm not suggesting there is a problem. I would just like to see everything done above board. It's troubling whenever a document is passed out to council for their consideration, just like these documents are, and yet the public doesn't get to see it. I would like to see us move forward ethically and without the appearance of impropriety. I'm not saying anything was done improperly. I'm just saying it doesn't look good. It gives the appearance. So I would like to prevent that. I have a right to know request pending. If I don't necessarily need to see that document, Mr. Petrucci could answer the question right now. If he chooses not to, that's fine. I'll wait to see if the document comes forward. And if the document doesn't come forward, then I very well may come here again as a resident and ask the question again, as I'm entitled to ask.
Okay, now when you make the comment, am I allowed to talk now? And I'm not interrupting you, correct?
Are you trying to argue with me? I don't know what.
I asked you a simple question. You said you wanted to talk uninterrupted. I'm asking you, am I interrupting you now, or am I able to speak?
Who's running the? I'm through with my comments at this time. My question is whether Councilman Petrucci, not your honor, whether.
I have a question to you.
May I
All right.
ask Pauline a question, Mayor?
When you make comments, documents given, is that a comment regarding the towing contract and Don Kuhn, or is that a comment to Mr. Petrucci?
I made a comment here tonight that we were provided all the documents. I presume that every council member up there has the packet that I'm holding, that I received from that table over there.
I asked you a question. I didn't ask what documents you had.
You asked me what documents I was referring to. I'm referring to these.
I'm asking you, when you say documents were not presented to you or the public, are you referring to Don Kuhn Auto Body not presenting the documents?
No, I'm
okay,
referring to
I just want to get it clear,
Well, let me
Pauline.
finish my sentence.
Okay,
I am
then
referring
you
to,
have,
may I finish my answer? I'm referring to the document that Councilman Petrucci passed out. It's on film. We can see it from the last meeting. He said, I have 5 copies here, and he passed out the documents to the members of council up there. That's the document I'm referring to.
Well, why then did you bring in above board? Now, is that above board referring to Mr. Petrucci, or are you alluding to Don Kuhn Auto Body did something not above board?
I have no problem with Don Kuhn
No,
Auto
I'm
Body.
asking a
I have
question.
I am questioning the process that occurred by passing a document to members of council that was not presented to the public.
Okay.
That's troubling. The document to the contract, I've seen that. The public has seen that. That was completely public. To the best of my knowledge, information, and belief, every single contract that was ever done with Don Kuhn Auto Body has been public. As far as I know, that's always been public. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, but the thing, that's why I want clarification.
And that's why
Pauline.
I'm saying.
All I'm asking is clarification. The reason I have to ask for clarification, Pauline, is because when you presented your comments and remarks, you presented Don Kuhn Auto Body. You are the one who brought Don Kuhn Auto Body into your questions.
Because Don Kuhn Auto Body is the entity that has received the contract.
And what does that have to do with Mr. Petrucci's notes?
Mr. Petrucci had a document, he said. I'm going to pass this out to everybody. I have 5 copies. I believe that's what he said. We can go back and look. To the best of my recollection, he said, I have 5 copies and I'm passing them out. I have the impression that people, some of the members of council probably thought that they were on that table as well, like this stack was there tonight.
Well, what you assume people think, Pauline.
I'm not assuming
is
anything.
one thing. Well, you're saying people thought they would be on there. Okay, I'm not saying anything other than the fact.
Well, what you have done is you've impugned my character, and so now I have to defend my character. So.
And did you harm a business person's character?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Well,
so.
I'm up here tonight for one thing and one thing only. You have derailed this. I have my timer. My timer right now, we are on 31 minutes. 31 minutes. I had a question that could have been answered in about 10 seconds.
Yes, if you wouldn't have brought up another issue. If you would have.
I'm talking about
if you would have simply said, I want Councilman Petrucci's notes, it would be answered in 1 minute.
That's not what
I didn't bring up the towing contract.
I most assuredly brought it up because that's the issue that we are here for, that I'm here for tonight.
What?
I'm talking about ethics. I made a proper.
Okay, so,
no, please let me finish. Please, Your Honor. The issue is that particular contract. I can't help it that that happens to be the same last name as yours.
That has nothing to do.
And I don't have a
Pauline.
problem with
Pauline,
that.
these are cheap shots.
That's not a cheap
Okay,
shot.
what
You're
you're
asking me
saying-
why I brought up the
Right, so
Don
what
Kuhn
you're
contract.
saying is-
We're trying to make a record here. I think we can only speak one at a time.
Is there an ethics problem that you feel Don Kuhn Auto Body did with his contract?
With all due respect, Your Honor, I'm not here to give a deposition. I'm here to make a comment as a resident. I had one comment to make and one question. We have now gone on for 32 minutes. This was directed at Councilman Petrucci, although you let him speak any other time. For some reason, you won't let him speak right now. That's beyond me.
I didn't tell him not to speak. You see what you put out? You put out to the public, you wanted to ask Mr. Petrucci a question, but I didn't allow him to speak. Where in our conversation of 32 minutes did I make the comment, Mr. Petrucci, you can't speak?
I suppose it's out of courtesy that he has not interrupted you.
Is what?
I suppose it's out of courtesy that he has not interrupted you. You did not tell him verbally.
Oh, if you would have come to more meetings than when you decided to run, I have been interrupted by many council people.
Okay, then
many times.
Mr.
Please
Petrucci,
do not say I told Mr. Petrucci
I
he
never
couldn't
said.
speak.
Okay, excuse me, Your Honor. Mr. Petrucci, Would you be willing to provide that document that you gave to the other council members last meeting that said what tow truck businesses that you contacted and the date that you contacted them?
First of all, you wouldn't even need to see my documents. You could follow the minutes on page 47,
So that's a no?
40. No, I'm not
That's
saying
a no, you won't provide
47
that?
I'd have to look for them, Pauline. I'd have to look for them because I don't keep a ton of paper either. But if I find them, you're more than welcome to them.
So do you remember who you called?
Farrow Towing, McCann and Chester, and the company in Monroeville. What's the company in Monroeville? McGill's. I talked to Bob McCann.
And you talked to them all on the same day?
Yes.
Do you remember when that was?
No. It was before the meeting.
Days before, weeks before?
Probably on a Thursday or Friday before the meeting.
Thank you very much. I truly appreciate that answer. We could have had that answer about a half an hour ago.
And as I said, the mayor of Penn Hills did not bring up the towing contract. So don't say or state that you were only asking Mr. Petrucci a question, because we will have the minutes, Pauline.
I was specifically asking a question about the towing contract in regard to Mr. Petrucci's documents. That's what I was specifically asking the question for, related to ethics. Because when you think about ethics, it's not just improper conduct, it's the appearance of impropriety. It may be completely proper, but I would just love to see it done completely above board. Thank you very much.
And one other thing, the appearance of impropriety. Who are you referencing?
I'm referencing ethics legislation that does something like this. When you have documents that every member up there is reading, the public should get to see those documents as well.
Are you referencing appearance of impropriety towards the towing contract?
I just don't think you understand, so I'm going to sit down now.
It's a simple question. You said you asked Mr. Petrucci a simple question, but he didn't answer.
I'm going to answer
So, Pauline, I'm asking you a simple question. You're throwing out these terms of ethics, appearance of impropriety. My simple question that you could ask and answer in 5 minutes.
I'll do it in 3 seconds.
Is, are you referencing appearance of impropriety towards the towing contract?
I am talking about the term impropriety in relation to ethics.
Okay, what ethics has the towing contractor violated?
I'm not referring to the contractor. You keep going back to the contractor, and I'm talking about the process. See, I'd speak again, and we're trying to make a record here, and she cannot copy both what I'm saying and what you're saying.
Okay.
I have
so
never
let's
once.
just end this so we don't have to say how much time we spent on this.
Let me just finish, because you can't ask me a question, Your Honor, and then not let me speak. I have never once referenced the contractor. I'm talking about the process. I'm speaking only about the process, and you keep taking it back to the contractor.
Okay,
Thank
are you referencing the process of awarding the contract? Yes or no, Pauline?
I'm referencing the process of what happened at the last meeting. There was a document that was passed out to each council member. As far as I know, and I have no idea whether the contractor saw that or not. I have no idea.
You have no idea what?
Whether the contractor saw the note or whatever the document was that the councilman passed out. In fact, to the best of my recollection, Mr. Kuhn wasn't even here that day. So I doubt that Mr. Kuhn himself even saw that document at that time.
Why would, oh, Pauline, so as I said, you asked for a right to know for the towing contract, correct?
Yes, and I received that, and I asked for 2 documents.
In that when you received that, did you receive copies of towing contractors other than Dawn Kuhn-Ottaway?
No.
That wasn't in your right to know packet?
No.
do you think?
That's not what I'm here for. You keep missing the point, Your Honor. You're totally missing the point.
Pauline, we'll let this go.
Thank
But
you.
I will tell you one thing. You and I both know exactly what the point is.
My point is to make this body transparent and to follow the rules of ethics. Thank you.
And for the public, I would like to say, if anyone has any actual factual facts that this administration and the administration I served as deputy mayor for 12 years does not have transparency, please do not come up and make that statement unless you are going to give a written document stating where the transparency isn't. This is my administration. This is my name. I'm not here to go on to higher office. I've worked very hard, especially with Mayor DeLuca Jr., to bring the municipality to where it's at. As I tell everyone, the way you could see if you've actually succeeded is the board that you served on better when you left than when you got on. Well, look at my record of 2004 and where the municipality was at that time and where the municipality is today. Is my husband Don Kuhn from Don Kuhn Auto Body? Yes, he is. For 50+ years. His name and reputation is what he stands on, and his integrity. He has never, in 50+ years, been charged and had taken to court for any wrongdoing or any improprieties. He presents exactly what he presents every time he comes before mayor and council for his contract. Will I defend him? As I said, not just because of the fact he's my husband, but yes, I'm assuming the same way you would protect your family members. But I protect him as a businessman member who pays mercantile tax, business privilege tax, real estate tax, every type of tax possible. And he does not receive any funding from taxpayers. When you make a presentation, it would be the right thing, the Christian thing to do with actual facts and not slight, fraudulent words. He worked very hard. He's as honest as the day is long. I'll resign today if that's what this municipality wants. But I will not sit by and let someone who had no interest in this municipality for the 20+ years I've served come up here and defraud any business in Penn Hills. And I apologize if you think I was being derogatory toward you when I started my comments by saying what a wonderful, educated, young person Pauline Calabrese that I knew was. Okay, do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll motion for adjournment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Please, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
There will be no executive meeting for personnel because it was held prior to.